This exercise is called a single leg stance with foot sliders. It is going to be one of our more advanced movements that we can utilize. So there's lots of other videos that are going to build up to this, such as our hang stance, lots of glute activation, some of our foot tripod stuff. So we'll briefly go over a couple of those components, but feel free to refresh yourself with those other videos if you have any other questions. So we're going to start with these slider pads like this. Admittedly, we don't have a ton of space, so I'm going to be cut off a little bit, but you should be able to see the movement from here. So I'm going to start with my stance leg. In this case, I'm going to make my stance leg my left side. I'm going to bend that knee slightly. I'm going to rotate my pelvis forward so that my belt buckle is pointing straight ahead and my pelvis is nice and neutral. From here, I'm going to spread my toes as wide as they can, and I'm going to put them on the ground here and try to keep those toes spread as wide as you can through the movement. We talk about this in a lot of our tripod movements, but essentially the more we can spread those toes, the more we split the load and properly activate the glutes. The more, as we start to dump weight too much on one side or the other side of the foot there, we're going to minimize that glute activation and start using other muscles. So again, from that position, spread those toes as wide as we can. Put that foot down onto the ground, bend that knee slightly, rotate the pelvis. Intra-abdominal pressure, as with all of our movements, so keep some pressure here. And even just from this position, your glute muscle should be nice and turned on. But the thing that makes this a little more advanced of a movement is we're going to take this slider pad while we control this movement and just drive it in some different directions here. Now, as we push into that dimension here, we want to squeeze that glute muscle to bring it back here. If you're doing this properly, it's going to be the main way that you'll bring it back. What I don't want to see is we don't want to shift our weight to this side and then kind of bring it back here. We're going to want to keep that foot loaded and glute muscles activated throughout that entire movement. So we can kind of just go into the different directions of a clock right here. And some different dimensions here. Maybe we go a little bit forward here. If we want to encourage supination of the foot, which is where the foot is able to turn outward and we want to encourage that through the ankle, we can do maybe a curtsy movement where we reach backwards in this dimension. One other cue I forgot to give is pretend that our kneecap has a flashlight on it and it's pointing at the same spot on the wall through that entire movement. What we don't want to see is that knee drops inward or outward, or we have some loss of these different movements. So keeping that spot pointed here. So again, that supination, we're going to put that foot out here, maybe in my case that 4 o'clock. If we want to encourage a little bit of pronation or E version of the foot where we drop inward, we can train maybe with that 3 o'clock dimension. We reach out this way, all while keeping those same mechanical movements here. Now again, this is going to be much more powerful than a lot of our step exercises where we might just reach and step in some different dimensions, because throughout this entire movement, I have to control my pelvis and then control my hip capsule as I reach into those dimensions. As I said, this is one of our more advanced movements that we can utilize for the glute muscles.